Aloha, and thank you for joining Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson. Hooray! It is January, 16th, the Tuesday after the missile threat to Hawaii. So, obvious question on Lori's mind was, what was it like? Okay, okay.
Well, first of all, how did you hear it?
Oh, well, it comes over your phone like we get flash flood alerts all the time, because it'll be raining really
It was
hard.
on the screen of your phone. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really loud siren type noise on your phone.
Oh,
So we're
great.
like, we didn't even look at the phone at first. We're just like, flash flood? It's so sunny out.
It's-
And then I'm like, missile warning, and then I'm looking out my window for a missile. And then it was just a day of comedy.
I'm sure it was comedy for you guys, but for the majority of people who don't think like this, I'm sure it was panic. But you're looking for a missile.
I'm like, okay, if a missile's coming, I don't think there's anything. I thought about it because it said seek shelter or something like that. So I thought about it. I go, okay, where could I go for shelter? And I couldn't think of anywhere that would protect me from a ballistic missile.
No.
so, so, my son, who's 16, was at a gym in Kona, the other side of the island. He left at 4 in the morning that morning, and the thing happened at 8. And so he calls and he's like, "Hey, Mom, they locked me in the gym." And I go, "Oh, that's what they mean by take shelter. All right, you're the one that's going to live if that thing hits."
You'd be the only one.
You don't get locked in the gym.
But you had a lighthearted to it when you were talking
Yeah.
with him.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. He was really glad too. He's like, "I'm really glad you were like that because people were tripping out."
Yeah, I'm sure.
Nice that I could just call and it's like all mellow. And then my daughter, I start messing around with her. She calls me, and I just pick up the phone and go, "Run like a motherfucker."
Run where?
I know. She's
No,
like, what?
so bad.
we were we were just having jokes all day about it. It was fun.
So it was like for a half an hour or more that you guys were really, I mean, that alert came and
I
there was
don't know.
nothing else.
I don't know. I guess we just didn't believe it.
Right. That's awesome.
we just
See, but if I was talking to anybody else not anybody else, but the majority of people on that island, because see, I don't watch the news, so I don't know what the aftermath was.
yeah.
I
Well,
imagine they,
if death is coming, there's not anything anyone can do about it.
no, exactly. Especially if a missile's coming, run where?
And if it's a missile, we don't really even need to know. You know.
Exactly. You don't know where it's going to hit, what damage it'll
Yeah.
do. Who knows?
We didn't start doing the goodbyes and
No.
the last I love yous and everything like that.
That's freaking
I'm like, a
funny.
missile's coming. I'm looking out the window for it. That would be an amazing sight.
It would be something yeah,
Missile.
watching. Okay, so I figured it would be something like that for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was fun. It was definitely added some excitement to the day.
yeah, yeah. Well, some laughter, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, that's really fun. All right. So I'm gonna go over to Gail. She's got something going on over here. I'm gonna have her tell me what she's got. And yeah. Let me know if you have anything else, Lori. I love you.
Okay, I love you too.
Aloha.
Bye.
Gail, I turned your microphone
Yo.
on. Yo, baby.
I know I'm going to see you tomorrow, but this could not wait.
Okay.
Um, anyway, hey, I love you. I'm glad we're both not blown to smithereens, and so I could tell you that.
Right. You were here too on the island. What did you do?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I didn't see that first warning. My thumb hit the home button too quickly to really get the scope of the message. But I emailed the dude down the street and I said, "Do you know anything about a missile?" And I thought they were maybe blowing something behind us up in the mountains. And he said, "No, a siren would go off if there were."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Okay, cool, but I'm up at the farmer's market," and then everyone's acting all weird. And I'm like, "What's going on?" People are getting in their cars, rushing away. But hey, I was like, a nuclear missile, there isn't much you can do, people. You're about to be blown up. Let's just, laugh and eat
I'm not
kale.
sure anyone needs to know about that. Like, who needs to know that a missile's coming? It's coming.
Because you'll never know.
Yeah, you'll never know. They
You'll never
they
know.
don't tell you. You just won't have any missile in your experience.
Exactly. But hey, I
Yeah.
wrote you an email and it was a pretty long description, but in a nutshell, to ask you, give context about it, but there's this show I've been watching and kind of like binge watching, even though it's a weird show. I'm really fascinated with what happened. And there were these people who were not real. They were actually synthetic people, but they looked real. I mean, they
Yeah.
had arms and legs and moving around and they'll look at you and talk to you, but they didn't know they were in a body. They didn't have any feelings. They couldn't have anger or feel sadness or being in love. And one day a new program was downloaded or some new code whereby these synthetic beings suddenly became conscious. And that is the word they said, "Oh my God, the synths are becoming conscious." And then I noticed they were looking at their hands like, "Oh my God, I have a hand and legs and I feel sadness or excitement." So they were suddenly in touch with their emotions. And so what popped in my mind was, can you become aware of, is consciousness aware of itself? I mean, do you become aware of your own consciousness, which they obviously did, but is consciousness always seeking to be aware of itself? Or something along those lines I had asked you.
Okay. You could say that, excuse me, consciousness is used. Remember, I don't know if you remember, I was talking about it before, that consciousness is also make believe. You got to be conscious of something. It's a sense of separation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be conscious of something. So what's conscious? What's conscious? You could say there's something before that that's aware of the consciousness. There's something before
Yes.
that that's aware of it. And I don't know. I don't see that consciousness really needs to do anything about it, because it's like there's just an acknowledgement that there's something aware of consciousness right now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't think consciousness really has to get involved with trying to make the awareness aware, because it's like awareness is just aware.
Mm-hmm. So it can't know itself because there's nothing to know. It's seeking to express itself through us. Is that correct?
Well, you could say consciousness comes to understand what consciousness is.
Mm.
Do you see?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what happened, I suppose.
Right. Because when we take consciousness, all of the physical signs look like it's the opposite of what it really is. See? So it's like consciousness is fooled into believing that it's something that it's not.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Like in my own experience, when it seems like consciousness is identifying with something, it's like back to what's aware of the identifying.
Yes.
Not, and then it's not a problem. The identifying can go on, and it's not a problem. So it's like what's aware of the identifying. And then through it going on, learning happens and identifications become unnecessary because it's just experience that there's more joy without taking on identities.
Yes.
Isn't that fun?
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
All
It's so
right.
easy to take on identity, though, isn't it now?
Well, all it is a thought, though. That's a thing. So it's always right now, whatever, my attention is focused on. If a thought says you should be more of this or less of this, or, it's just wanting me to be a person, it's just allowed to do its talking, but I don't engage with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to engage with it. Like and if I do notice an argument or some kind of engagement coming up, that can also just play out in front of me. I don't have to try to stop it or anything.
Yes.
And it plays itself out.
Yeah, I was thinking today, boy, I'm trying to change a situation right now. I'm not okay with this. And I thought, well, what if I don't have to be anyway about it?
Yeah.
And to keep coming back to the sort of neutrality about it. And and yeah, there's this other piece that I wanted to request some guidance with along those lines, is that something I've shared with you in the past, actually, about waking up in the night. I go to the bathroom and this thought seems to pervade. It's just all pervasive in that moment. I just get so down from this thought, and it was, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? And that question has shifted into what am I doing with my life here? Not as a purpose, not as a being. It's more about my days are spent just in a flow of, it feels like nothingness. And I think once before you said, I'll take that too. I guarantee you I'd be stoked with that experience just like any other experience. And that's cool. I wish we could swap so I could see that. But what's
Lots
really...
of people do. They know I go over there and they come back to something different.
Yeah, basically. I know. To my bones. And this particular experience, I think that's what I was saying. What if I just experience it? Maybe there'll be a different outcome. And not as in order to, but really like, hey, I'm curious. Maybe it's just the pull of continuing to want to feel bad or engage this thought that doesn't really produce anything. And yet I thought I'd engage the thought with you for a moment, simply because I'm looking at what I'm doing as a productive means. In other words, I feel like I'm going through the motion of things, and everything is being experienced, and I have beautiful trees to look at and an ocean to hear, and there's plenty of experience happening around me that I appreciate. And in terms of an outcome that I work, being productive, like you are productive with your business, and you're productive having wisdom dialogues. You have an outcome that's almost tangible with these things, that is tangible and it's visible, and there's an experience of maybe accomplishment, and of course accomplishment goes right out the window as quickly as defeat or anger, just all an emotion, a rise and fall. However, this experience that I'm having seems to repeat itself, and I imagine that's my reality created by whatever I'm conjuring up in my mind, and it doesn't seem to be altering. Like I have these ideas that wish to be expressed and realized and manifested, yet it seems like time just keeps going by and there's nothing that I'm bringing forth. And to me, that would be a great deal of joy and satisfaction of actually having a result of something that I produced and be more productive in my daily experience. That to me is a great missing. And I do want to change that. There's definitely an attachment to that outcome because it's been this way for an extended period of time. And I really do value the idea of having some productivity and some outcomes made manifest that I can share with people in the world or just in general out there, you know. So that's where I am at this moment.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for hearing me. I really just thanks for hearing me.
Aw. Aw.
Yeah.
Well, you know the deal.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you know the deal. There's no one that really wants these outcomes. That's not I. It's not you saying I want that.
Yes.
And that wanting any particular outcome is like a shadow of wanting to be where you actually already are, to be who you actually already are. See, there's nothing wrong with not doing anything. There's nothing wrong in it. And you know, I've shared before that I've actually spent about 4 months in bed. And you know, the whole time I was in bed, there were these ideas that I wanted to do something, and that's where the work was. You know, that's where the work was, to be with that idea that I want something different, because we actually don't want anything different. Whatever we have, we want.
Yes, of course. And I'm
we
tired of that thought.
Yeah. Well,
So I
that's also
want to use this to feel bad.
that's also a thought that I'm tired of the thought. See,
I know.
yeah, there's just not a
Aw.
there needs, you know, it's sort of like you make a strong commitment. I think they call it a strong commitment in Vipassana, where they said, okay, for these 2 hours, we'd like you to do the best you can not to open your eyes or move your hands for 2 hours. A strong commitment. So in this case, the strong commitment is to recognizing that every thought is actually a thought, that it's meaningless as such.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if every thought is meaningless, then what can it do to you? You would have to use it to do something to yourself. Even the thought, I want it to be different, is an attack on yourself. You can sense it, because when you feel into that energy of wanting, it's as if you don't have already. That's the thing. As if you don't already have everything. And then you know, if you're believing that you don't already have something, it multiplies the things that you seem to be without. So there's nothing, there's just really nothing there to harm you.
Well, I guess I'm pretty committed and identified with making this perpetuate.
Well,
This experience perpetuate.
Yeah, it's believing that you don't want what you have. It's believing that you don't want what you have. You know, if you believe that, that's like killing yourself. You know? You can't really kill yourself, but it's like super cover, you know, it's like putting veils over yourself. Let's say it like that. Like covers up the truth of who you are. If you actually accept that thought that you want something to be different. I mean, sure, it's true. Being productive feels good. The experience of being productive feels good. You know, you could say that. And you know, it's like, but look at this. You have to use the experience of being productive to make yourself feel good. Like if you were a newborn baby and you were productive and you didn't know it, you wouldn't feel good about it. You don't give a shit. See?
I see. The opposite is true then.
Yeah, so if you're going to use productivity as something, whether you should feel good or bad, then you're going to get a lot of that stuff around that area because, the ego is like, ho ho, that's where we can get some energy. Get her to jump on the train, Yeah.
So I recognize there's a recognition that when somebody in a relationship, let's say, has that person be this another person be the source of their happiness, they also have the same capacity to be the source of their unhappiness. And so it sounds like that's applicable in this. That's the same
Oh,
sort of thing.
yeah, totally. Yep. If you're gonna
Okay.
use productivity to make you happy, then productivity is equally gonna make you unhappy because there's a lack of productivity on the other side.
Yes, I can see that now.
Yeah.
And so it's really for me, I'd like to have an experience of productivity. There's a desire for productivity. I
Yeah.
guess saying it's happy, yeah, I
It's
can get that because
it's
it's been
like
so long.
well, see, it's like something's birthing through you. Whenever there's any kind of discomfort, any kind of uncomfort, something is birthing through you.
Wow, this is the long labor then.
Yeah, it's a long labor, just like if you're, just like if you're in childbirth, the whole thing that makes it take a long time is
The
there's
resistance.
tensing up. Yeah, tensing the uterus. Like that thing's trying to push out and then pushing against it. The same kind of thing. It's like you have no idea what's in your best interest, so you don't know how long you need to sit around. The time is an illusion. That's the thing. So if you want anything in the world, you're already condemning yourself, even wanting to not be unproductive or to be productive or whatever. It's just there's nothing to want, is what I'm saying.
Well, fuck. What's I, please, I want some excitement.
How about there's well, see, you are the excitement. You can't get it from outside of you.
Ugh, I know, I know. Oh
It's got to be
man.
exciting for you. Just let yourself be exciting for yourself. You know what I mean? It's pretty exciting if you got a thought coming up and go, "Oh shit, Gail, you're so fucking lazy" or something. That's fucking hilarious. That's exciting. And then you'll see other exciting things start happening. Okay, have some excitement with yourself. Yeah.
Oh, Ron!
Oh my
I love
goodness.
you, Ron. I love you, Ron.
Wild Braun. He's a wild Braun.
He is. All right. Well, uh, okay. Well, okay.
Well,
All
okay.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Until 5 minutes from now, I'm sure.
Well, here's the thing. When you're ready, it'll just happen.
Okay.
Just be
I
like, hey,
do.
I don't need that anymore. I really don't need that. No, thank you. Gail, what have you done today? Make an accounting of what you did today so I can see if you're worthy. You just laugh at that stuff. Okay?
Um, well, there was one thought that popped in. One thing to ask you anyway related to that, but it seems to have gone the wayside. But something you'd said to me before, and I wanted to weigh it against that, but I guess it's not necessary. So, hey, thank you. I love you.
Thank you.
And
Love
hui
you.
ho.
A hooey ho! Until tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, I'm still here with the rest of you guys. I don't know if Gail stays on after I talk to her.
Bye.
Oh, she was saying something. What do you say? Oops. What have you? Okay, now you're not on.
I
What
said
did you...
bye, y'all.
Oh, aloha, Gail.
Aloha. Much love. Mwah.
Okay, so Yulia's on. Yulia asked me a question. Yulia, if you want to talk with me right now, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, I could go over here and address your question. Yulia, there she is. Put her up on a message. Oh, it's a good one. Wow, it's long. Okay. Could you talk about disease and healing, please? Yes, one of my favorites. All my life I've been healthy. Have you now? If I ever got sick, I recovered fast, and I always had that feeling that things will always be all right. Now, for the last 6.5 years, I've been having a recurring health issue. It's not critical or dangerous, but very unpleasant, and it affects an important aspect of my life. I tried different modalities of healing and several times felt like it was over and would never be back again, but it always returned after a while. I don't like resorting to conventional medicine again because it seems to offer a patch solution that doesn't solve the problem. It just makes me dependent on a medication. I'm trying to avoid it, but the problem persists. I feel like it's become some sort of monster in my mind, something I'm fighting, something that frustrates me. I'm feeling like it's grown into a thing in my mind. When I listen to wisdom dialogues, I feel the truth of what you're pointing to. Yet this health problem seems to be something that challenges my own views. It's as if something is saying disease is real, physical disorders and imbalances are real, healing is real, etc. Would love to. Well, you know what, the part I love, and raise your hand if you want to speak with me. The part I love is where something is saying disease is real. See? So basically, the thought that disease is real has manifested into a perception that disease is real. You did raise your hand, and I'm getting you because I don't see your hand, but I'm going to get you on here. Hang on, that's Scott. He didn't raise his hand. All right. Yulia, yay.
Hi, Hope.
Hi, you're on. Hooray.
Yeah, I pretty much said everything. So you're answering.
Well,
But I just raised my hand.
you did great. You did awesome. This is a great one. So, yeah, the manifestations of disease, the whole purpose of that is to prove that disease is real. That's the ego's purpose of it. Okay, it's basically a projection of disease thought. So you're saying earlier you were always healthy. Maybe that's what you perceived in the form, in the bodily form. But the only thing that can really be sick is thoughts. See?
Yeah, I'm talking about physical health, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, I know, but it's the same.
And I kind of know that, but you also know what I mean.
Yes, that you have the perception of something physical going on.
Right.
Okay, so that's a manifestation of thoughts. You can say they're sick thoughts or insane. You can say they're insane thoughts believed. That's what makes a sick body. And you don't have to do anything about that, but see through the attack thoughts that come along with it. Like the one that says disease is real. That disease that you're experiencing, the symptoms you're experiencing, they're sort of like superimposed onto a perfectly healthy being. They're like superimposed there. They're only held together by thought. Whatever it is, whatever's going on, that could disappear in an instant. In fact, it takes making that real in order to hold it to you. And the taking it real is so unconscious. So it's up to us in the moment, in the very moment that an unconscious thought is brought to the surface and made conscious, even about the disease, to recognize what it is. Always recognizing that it's a thought. Thoughts are meaningless. Like nothing can tie us to this disease. We have full dominion over everything. That doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you or you're to blame if you're experiencing physical symptoms. Immediately an ego would take these words and use them as an attack against yourself. as if you're to blame if you feel sick or if you're having any kind of symptoms. That's not the truth at all. Even the sickness is being brought up to the surface because you want it. You want it. Because what's sick, that's causing the sickness, the true cause of the sickness in the mind, it hasn't been seen. And that's what it takes to get the attention there. You want whatever it takes to get your attention. See?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's bad or wrong. And, you know, whenever I've experienced illnesses, and, you know, I experienced one for some months on end, there's just a willingness for it to go on as long as it needs, because there's knowing that it's all perfect. And see, without that willingness to allow it to be as long as it needs, then there's resistance, and that's what holds it in place. You know, I can give you an example. When I was experiencing what was called kidney failure, or no, adrenal failure. That's the one organ.
Oh.
And when I was experiencing that, you know, it was really interesting, because as I was going through it, I could tell that there was a lot of unconscious belief, as far as, you know, the doctor telling me a diagnosis, and you know, you need to be resting all the time, you shouldn't be doing anything, and all that kind of stuff. So there's like, I could feel an unconscious pull toward it, but there was something that like kind of like wanted it. There's always an ulterior motive in these illnesses. There's something that definitely wanted it. I could tell that whatever I have, I want. And I don't know why I'm going through it. I know what the purpose is. I know the purpose is always awakening the mind. But I don't know what, you know, who I'm being drawn toward, and, you know, what kind of experience are going to come out of it. So just like enjoying the experience, and without concern. And then at one point, it was just kind of like, I'm done with this ride. And I was just done with it. I didn't go back to the doctor. I didn't get any more tests. I felt to stop eating food for about 5 or 6 weeks, and just had like broths and stuff that's liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I didn't even know how long I was going to go without eating the food. I could just tell I wanted to stop right there when I felt like I'm off of this.
Mm-hmm.
See, but it wasn't like it was just like it was obvious that it was over. It was obvious that I was done with that energy. It's almost like a relationship breaking up.
Mm-hmm.
See, but I wasn't trying to get to that point. I wasn't trying to get to that point. I knew when it was over, but I didn't try to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do have some questions that arise in the course of your
Okay.
And you know that of course is related to my experience too.
Yeah.
What I keep observing are the thoughts of conflicts between different beliefs into treatments and effectiveness of treatments, right?
Okay.
Where you said you were done with the doctors also, you know, and all that.
Yep.
In my personal experience, there's an internal, you know, contradiction and not wanting to resort to conventional medicine, but in my experience, it's the only thing that ever worked symptomatically, not to heal it, but to remove symptoms for a while. And
Okay.
some symptoms went away on their own. I would
Mhm.
you know, have long periods of time without anything at all, and I would
Mhm.
totally forget about it, and you know, be perfectly happy and forget that you know the problem ever existed, until all of a sudden, seemingly out of the blue, it returns, and I experienced this sense of frustration, and I also experienced that whatever I do, even talking to you, even looking for some sort of let's say, mental, spiritual solution to it, is still a search to a solution, right? To getting rid of it. So that in itself is kind of self-defeating.
Yes, because you want something in the world. and there's nothing in that actually, let's put it, more specifically, you pretend to want something in the world. See, what wants isn't really your voice in the first place. And what hurts is believing that that which wants is real and it actually knows what's in your best interest.
Yeah, my mind is believing that there is a best approach to this. Like if I don't treat myself now at all and just let it be, which I kind of am trying now anyway, in sort of, not that I'm not taking some supplements or something like that, but and if or you do this self bargaining that, oh, if I'm willing to let it go and do whatever it wants and even let it get worse, and then that's the right way somehow,
Well, the self-bargaining, that's just more thought. That doesn't have anything to do with you.
Mm.
You're only aware of you're only aware of thoughts passing. So even that self-bargaining, all you are is like awareness of whatever it is. It's not really touching you. And it's like if there's willingness to have an experience, you genuinely don't mind what shape the body is. It's not that you don't take care of it. It's not that you don't take care. It's just obvious because it's cared for by the spirit. It's not really our responsibility. And whatever the body seems to be presenting in terms of sickness or anything like that, it's a total misperception. That's not possible. That's not really possible. And so with the misperception comes this sense of frustration and identification as an individual. That's why any kind of physical dis-ease, sickness, anything like that is an amazing opportunity for awakening. But what most people are doing when they get any kind of illness or anything like that, they're like, oh no, they're like resisting it. They don't want it. They want to hurry and get through it or whatever. But see, the illness, all it is a reflection. It's a reflection. Why would I want the illness to be quote unquote healed if its cause remains unhealed? Who would want that? That makes no sense. If that's what's happening right now, that's what's happening. That's not to say not to take supplements or medical drugs or whatever it is you think is awesome. It really doesn't matter. Okay? Because there's no way any kind of thing in the world can effectuate any kind of cure or harm to the body. It all comes from the mind.
Yeah, because like that makes me remember some certain religious people, right, that have this beliefs that they can pray away illnesses or something, and then there are all these examples where somebody didn't get treatment, didn't do this, didn't do that because they believed it would go away somehow, right?
Well, that's why
died of something.
Yeah, well, that's just using a belief in a way that again identifies you as an individual. To go, okay, it's bad to use conventional medicine and then be committed to that belief. And then, of course, you see the outcome of that. It's pretty funny. It's
right.
Like,
I don't particularly think that conventional medicine is bad overall. I think it, has its place. And it's just in my case, it seems like what's offered is, it's just not fun, let's say. It's not leading to a cure. It's just like, here,
okay.
take this.
Well, here's the thing. You don't know, because you don't know what any cure could be. There could be a really nice, relaxing cure. In fact, there is. If you can imagine that there's a nice, relaxing, awesome cure, to where you're like, wow, this cure stuff is so good. I'm glad I got this thing so I can use this cure. I don't know. But, just if you can imagine the most awesome thing you can imagine, it's yours. It's yours. But it's like you claim it in the moment. When the mind says, oh, this illness sucks. The only treatment I can get is this conventional treatment, not pleasant. and see, that's a contraction. That thought is a contraction. It contracts your energy and keeps it focused in a certain way, as if what you know to be true is really true, and then your perception demonstrates that for you.
Hmm.
See? So
Yeah, I
so
keep trying
stay in
other
I
things.
don't know. If you stay in I don't know, you hear the mind say what it thinks it knows. But if you say, oh, I really don't know, then you can be open to more information.
I see a really funny hand in the corner, like I was so.
That's my brawn. That's
I,
my
I
little
figured that, like, what's going on with Hope's hand? It's moving in a very strange way away from her. Like, what's she doing?
brawn.
Nice. Uh-huh.
So you hear what I'm saying? Hear what I'm saying on that?
Yes, yes, kind of, but even though I'm understanding it, like, it's
Yeah.
still. Mm,
But the thing is too, when you have a physical illness, you are experiencing resistance, and it's not like don't resist. It's like experience the resistance. You know, it's just like it's just like in childbirth. It's not like you can keep yourself from resisting, but if you experience the resisting relaxes. See?
mhm.
It's totally in the resistance. You cannot get sick without that. Resistance gets you all tore back.
And resistance to the experience of having whatever is, considered as symptoms.
Yes, the frustration is resistance. That's another thing. That's another one. Anything that is seeing a symptom and going, it's
Mhm.
not. There's not a gratitude there. There's not like thank you, thank you. I know this brings blessings because everything that comes into my experience brings blessings. It doesn't matter what it looks like on the surface. See?
Mhm.
And no one's wrong for it. So see how the ego will make a perception of illness wrong. A perception of illness is a misperception,
Mhm.
but it's not wrong. It's just reflecting something.
Yeah, what I have is also like a strange thing. It's not really something that is even diagnosed. It's just
Yeah.
an issue, and it's very unpleasant, and it fluctuates between being just a minor nuisance to getting scary
Uh-huh.
to disappearing entirely. So
Okay.
kind of like this tricky, annoying thing and a puzzle that doesn't want to solve itself.
And it can't be annoying. Nothing can be annoying because everything is neutral, even a sickness. You have to use it to get annoyed. You have to use it to get a feeling of annoyed. You actually have to do something. It's activity. The only kind of activity you can really do is that mind activity. See?
Whew.
If you notice a feeling of annoyance and go to its cause, which is right there in the mind, it diffuses. You can sense it in your own body. I mean, I've had this experience a lot. I don't know if you have too, Yulia, but where that sense of frustration, anger, annoyance comes up almost like a pressure.
Yeah, I
And
feel it. I'm feeling it now.
then, but have you also seen its cause and watched it diffuse?
Sometimes.
Yeah, so that's available. So good. The sometimes is really helpful because you know once you have the experience of having that diffused, it's like you're like, oh, it's okay, and you start to get it more and more, and you start to open up to it more and more. But I'm telling you, that feeling where it's intense and then it relaxes like that, that's the most healing thing in the world.
Yeah, I see. I get it now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is huge. And it doesn't
Mhm.
it's like because it's not that relief is not dependent on whether or not your body is demonstrating healing or not.
Right, and whether you're thinking about this treatment or that or whatever you do, basically.
Yeah, and all the things about decisions about what treatments to make,
Mhm.
that's not even up to you. You're not even going to make a decision. So you don't have to fuss about it. Instead you can be in a state of playful curiosity, wondering which treatment is going to be chosen.
Mm-hmm.
See? Because all you can do is watch. And with this body, it's like this body of information interpreting energy. So even as you get the information for the different treatments, maybe you're researching it, or maybe you're asking people, the body of information, this perceptual body, is receiving the information which is being interpreted by the mind. You don't even have to do anything about it. You're just there for the experience. The decision is the decision. You have nothing to do with it.
Oh, I'm experiencing that easing of tension now. It's nice.
Good. I'm glad. Because it doesn't matter which one's chosen, and you can't get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Right. Is that liberating thought?
Yes, that's right. It's and one way the Course in Miracles has kind of taught it, which I like a lot. It's like, this dream, it's made of thought, and there's one holy thought. I don't know if it can really be described. You could say love, innocence, the thought of God, you could say, that can shine a light through all of the other thoughts, make them all meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
Just that one thought, the thought of love. You could say it's called love, but it just wipes everything else away.
It's more like relaxed
Mm-hmm.
acceptance, ease.
Yes. Yes.
And not being attached and serious about.
Exactly.
That's what I would call it.
I went to visit my brother-in-law in California, and he was recently paralyzed. He recently had an accident, was paralyzed, and he was so funny. The only thing that moved was his head. All he could do is talk.
And you're smiling.
To use that thing to laugh and tell jokes.
Oh my God. Laughing about, oh my God.
Hey, it doesn't work anymore. He's like, hey, I was worried about what I was going to do. Now I know what I'm doing.
God. Oh my God. Yes.
Isn't that fun?
It's a bit too much fun.
Yeah, it's like there's such an attachment to the body, and the attachment to the body is a big one. That's why this illness thing is real persistent for people.
Oh yeah.
Like, God, like you see someone with one leg, and he goes like, man, that would suck to have one leg, and it's like, who's talking,
Oh yeah. I had that experience. I tore knee ligaments, and I was walking out of the clinic for the first time on crutches, and I was feeling so sorry for myself. And I literally saw a young girl with one leg, and she was walking and smiling, and I was like, oh. and I'm sulking and being so like,
I know.
Because it hurts me,
It's funny. It's like you see a person with a missing leg, and you're like, what do you have that compares to that?
Right. And I go like,
would you trade your symptoms right now for a missing leg?
Oh my God.
And they're totally fine. It's like, it's just this idea that something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an idea. That's all. And that's what makes it into a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've said before, if you're a newborn baby and you don't know, you just are right there in the experience. And
you have no idea that there is a wrong.
What's that?
That you have no idea that something can be right or wrong.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That idea is basically material knowledge. It's basically ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this what we perceive is just it's just a bunch of ignorance being played out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sickness is, and like I said before, it doesn't mean the person who's sick did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones experiencing that opportunity. I mean, can you say a person that lost their leg when they were a kid, they did something wrong to get that? It's not like that. But we do always have what we want.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mm. Yeah, it's again applying a concept of right and wrong to
Yeah. Yeah,
even.
and any thought of worry about how am I going to make my ends meet and stuff like that, remember you are not your sustenance either. You are
Mm.
not your sustenance.
Why do I keep forgetting that? I mean, I remind myself, but it's just the pool of going back into worrying is sometimes so strong.
Yeah, it's just that if you have a stronger commitment to recognizing what's true, then worrying isn't a problem because worrying is just happening in front of you and it's kind of entertaining. It's meaningless.
Yeah, it's just the conversations, everybody around you,
Yeah.
which of course there's nobody around you, but
Yeah. Yeah,
there's
and
a
now you
perception
just
that
be
there are, and they all want you to worry.
like, yeah, with them. Yeah, I know. It's fun. I just say no thank you to stuff like that. Sometimes people want me to fight with them. Actually, like, start asking me some questions that are kind of leading, want me to fight. And I just say no thank you.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no need. There's no need. Aren't you worried about, or someone will say, this person is fucked up, or this situation is really bad, and they'll be like,
Be angry.
right?
Like,
They'll be like, but they'll be like, right, right, and they'll
uh-huh.
be like looking at me like the pressure's on, like you either say right or they're gonna turn it on you, and I'm just like, I just don't know. I
Yeah,
really don't.
yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Like, be angry, be outraged.
Yeah.
Outrage.
Yeah, and then the thing is, when someone's coming with that energy, that's all your own self-talk, and that's what makes it fun.
Hmm.
Because it's like someone's angry, lashing out at people or whatever to you maybe, and you start to sense this uncomfort from hearing this stuff and being in
Hmm.
this energy, and that's where the opportunity is. That's where the opportunity is. So then it's not like, oh, you're entertained, not like you're entertaining thoughts about, oh, I got to get away from this person, and or this is messed up. You're watching those thoughts go, but you're experiencing the experience, and then you can have the connection. You can still have the connection.
Hmm.
You're always connected. You're always in connection with yourself. Wherever you lose the or seem to lose the connection, let's say that. Wherever you seem to lose the connection, that's just because there's buying into thoughts in that moment. See?
Hmm.
So sometimes it can seem like some energy can pull you out of your own connection. Like I was talking with one of my friends and she was saying that she was in this beautiful space, just so she felt enlightened. And then the missile threat came.
Oh my God.
And then, oh no, oh no. See?
Oh, yeah. What did you do? How did you react? No, I'm
Oh,
curious about
it was
that.
just comedy in my house. It was pure comedy. We were just laughing about it.
That's incredible. Hmm.
but
Mhm.
but see the thing is, and the ego has any kind of hold, as in your body is meaningful. Then if something like happens, oh, it's so scary, I had a doctor tell me you need to just stay in bed because you could die. You're like, you're really, I don't know how you're sitting here actually. You
Mm,
must be surviving on something else that I don't know about. And
mm,
if I bought into that, and through my experience when I would buy into that, oh wow, yeah, wow, that test really showed that I was almost dead, then
mhm.
it made it really realistic for me, to the point where I had a near death experience even.
Whoa.
It was very realistic.
Hmm.
so so nothing has the power, and it doesn't matter what kind of cure, quote unquote cure, because we know nothing actually works like that. Whichever one is the most awesome can come to you because you're open to stuff that feels good.
Yeah, whatever feels the most inspiring. Like right now, I'm feeling inspired to read something interesting about that, let's say.
Yeah. I mean, there's been all kinds of different things. I've heard people using tapping. It could be anything. It's like it's the power of healing is what heals, and then that thing used as some, to convince the mind, to convince the fearful mind that something made the healing happen, but it really doesn't.
Yeah, I'm inspired to read and find out how this mechanism works physically for some reason.
Fun. Okay. Well, enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because actually, that doesn't seem like it's completely understood or clear. So,
Right.
I'm
You
feeling
might find some cool stuff out.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I love it. I love you. I've got another hand, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Lori wants to talk about NDE. Exciting. But I'll be back to you, Lori. Molly's here. This is such a treat.
Hi. Oh, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Gail was messaging me like, I'm on Wisdom Dialogues. I was like, oh, what time is it? So thanks, Gail. I'm here.
I heard her texting while she was talking with me.
She loves to do that with me.
I'm sure she sent out like multiple messages because I heard her keep on doing it again and again.
I'm here. And then I've been listening on my drive up through the traffic to Pahoa, and then I just got in. I was listening to you talk to Yulia while I was in Island Naturals, and then you lowered my hand, and so I stepped outside.
Yay!
Yay!
Here you are.
So
Thanks, Molly.
I was grocery shopping and listening. It was wonderful.
Oh, good.
I've got my headphones in.
That's perfect. All right. So what do you have today?
Well, I wanted to share that for Yulia, or for your conversation, that, we had talked about this, of course it's a theme. And then it was when we talked, I realized taking, this approach to Ayurveda, which I'm so devoted to, this like holistic healing. And then it was really easy for me to when you said like, it's for play, like it was really easy for me to not like a few years in to then talk to you and then not take it so seriously at the same time. Like I was able to just like jump over without like with keeping it. Like it was just this one conversation where I realized like I can keep all of this and dive in even further without having to take it so seriously. Like it's the only thing that works. Or like, like where it becomes limiting rather than expanding and playful. Yeah. And so now I can talk to people like, yeah, this is how the doshas work. This is how it's playing out. But in my mind, I'm not like hooking them to that. Like, you must pacify that vata or else, blah, 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 which so many people take that approach, So that's been really fun for me. And then what I wanted to offer for Yulia's, it just clicked with something you said, and I never really put it to words, but what I've observed over the past several years is that people choose all different types of healing modalities for illnesses, and sometimes Western medicine works, sometimes alternative medicine works, sometimes Western doesn't, sometimes alternative doesn't, sometimes the full juice, I forget the guy, but like the full-on juice vegan like totally cures cancer, and sometimes that doesn't work, and like sometimes people who pray it cures them, or sometimes monks like beautiful enlightened beings die of an illness. So I just wanted to say I'm noticing that it actually doesn't matter. Like and I notice people go like, and part of it is my teacher who's like supports she's a natural medicine doctor, but she supports people who go through chemo, and she gives them support within while they choose, and she's totally open to whatever her client chooses.
Okay.
And so I realized then some people want to bash, like the Western wants to totally put down the holistic, and then some people who are really into the full-blown holistic want to just totally bash the Western. And I'm now sitting here watching and going like, oh, like, just like you said, like, you could choose whichever you want,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I don't know. So I just wanted to offer that.
You know, it's because it's the mind that gets convinced that healing happened.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
no healing really needs to happen. Like the mind gets convinced that okay, healing actually happened now. Now it can be presented as healed.
Yeah. And like with you and just getting on your gua sha, it's like it's coming from this like deep playfulness, and that feels so good. I'm gonna keep doing it, and then you're just like breaking down layers of the gua sha that some people have to like, you know, like convince it's good, and then it's like, oh, I didn't gua sha, and it's like but if you just let the mind, like, and that's what Ayurveda is to me, it's like fun and sweet and lovely, and so then it works for me, but I don't
And it
have to
feels
like
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
if something feels good, it's like, gee, that is an amazing. I'm so stoked for the gua sha. I'm just gonna plug the gua sha. I don't have any interest in it, but
yeah.
it feels so good. It's like this little stone tool. I've showed it before, and you scrape your body, and it's kind of like this area. It's between the skin and the muscle. It's fascia that's getting all. It's getting all kinds of circulation. That's what feels really good. I'm doing it in the shower. I take like 45-minute showers.
Yeah.
It's really fun and relaxing, and it seems to have some great benefits too. So
Yeah.
that's one fun thing. I've heard of that being used for different kinds of illnesses that people think are a really big deal too.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like a massage.
And sometimes, you know, like sometimes like antibiotics excite me, like, oh, well, if you're gonna get staph infection, don't worry, we've got antibiotics. Like, you know, like there's something about that, like, oh, something about like taking care of myself in this way, like maybe Western, like just knowing that that's there, like that makes me feel good, you know. And and so anyway, I just think that's really cool, and I just kind of realized that people argue either way, and there's not really good enough data because all different ways work and all different ways don't work. It really does.
It's all like magic in a dream, and there's no difference between the different modalities.
Right.
It's
exactly.
a lot of it speaks to what we think we deserve.
Right.
As far as the treatment, how much do I need to suffer to get through this, or to get to the other side of it? By the way, Yulia is saying thank you to you.
Oh, you're welcome, Yulia.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Yeah.
By the way, Yulia, Molly is an amazing. What are you? I don't even know what to call you. You're just so amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm right now into Ayurveda, Ayurvedic practitioner. Yeah. But
I did a 4-day retreat with Molly where I was silent for 4 days, and she was just rubbing on me all these beautiful oils, and she was treating me so sweet and having meals made for me by Non. Yoga. Yeah, it's super juicy. Yes, Yulia, it's juicy. You've got her FB. Okay, good. Yeah, talk to her. She's a good aromatherapy expert too. In case you have anything where you're like, hey, I'm dealing with this kind of thing, Molly knows what essential oils are perfect for that. So talk to her. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really into Ayurveda, but I'm not locked into that. I'm like an Ayurvedic practitioner, but I love all things health and wellness and hope and everything.
And one thing about Molly too is her vibe is just super mellow. I mean, it's like when you're in a space with her, whether it's massage or your retreat or anything, it's just there's this open space around Molly where it's just like an invitation to just keep on relaxing a little bit more.
That felt so good. Thank you.
Yay! I know.
You just gave me a dose of myself. Yummy.
You can take the video and snip that part out and say, "Here's Hope's review."
Good point.
All right. So I have one more question to go to. Unless you have anything else, Molly, what's up with you? You good?
Yeah, I had a quick question, and I'm just going to kind of listen to your answer. Um, it's about what we were talking about in the Buddha shack, and about, you know, relating, and how when in the past, when like a guy has shown you like something that didn't feel support, you're just able to go, no, blah, 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 and, you know, and I've realized that for me, I'm not the same. And so these experiences are coming, like the, you know, maybe the highs or the lows or whatever. And I'm feeling really actually quite comfortable with all of it, and like what I'm learning. And it's like our conversation is really helpful for me, helping me be aware. And then I noticed like something that came up that would say, like, it was like a guilt trip. Like, why can't you be more like how Hope is or said, or why are you doing that? Why are you choosing to maybe bring yourself into more suffering? And then I noticed I was then expecting things to fail. I was like, then like in a way, like, you know what I mean? Like I started to make some wrong out of it. So I guess my question was like, with all that you shared with me and your perspective on that, like, what about for me when maybe that's not how I'm doing it? I'm just maybe like, I'm still, is it that I'm just, as those situations arise, I still want them until I don't? Is that really all it is? Or?
Well, there's always a motivation behind every choice.
Right.
So look at the motivation. Just look at the motivation behind, you know, what is it? What motivates you to keep going towards someone who demonstrates to you that you are completely invisible and out of their lives when you go out of town?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would just see what motivates you to that, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
See what it is, because you get to a certain point. See, you get to a certain point of experiencing the same energy where you just go, I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's like, I just don't need this anymore. No need. But while it's there and it's experience, look at it. Let the relationship just be like really like an open hand, you know.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling, and sort of more like, if that were to happen again, then I get another chance to say whether that works for me or not. You know what I mean? Because it's not like yeah.
That's exactly it.
Like I was sharing with you the other day, when I used to go, oh, this again, this lesson again. Now I'm like, oh yes, this again. I get to choose the new way if I want.
Yeah.
It's like way more fun. I've never had that thought of like, oh, this again. It was like, oh, this again. Yeah.
Because you can imagine, and you can imagine it's just like natural where it starts happening, where you'll get these visions of different ways you can be in the same situation that gets even more and more fun.
Yeah. Totally.
And then as that happens, it's like the mind is just setting it up again and setting you in place to have that opportunity again. And you get to experience it until you nail it.
Totally. What a gift.
And
Such.
Oh, we're cutting out a little.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
What I said was, what a gift.
Yeah. Yep. And then here's another thing. You don't have to stay around anything or anyone that feels uncomfortable, painful, abusive to get your lesson. It's not necessary.
Right.
Your lesson can be completely easeful.
Right.
So that's another thing. It's like a decision is made, that a decision being made. Am I staying with this person or not staying with this person? That is not your choice. You might as well just experience the experience and see what happens. And you'll know if you're not staying with the person, if you're like saying goodbye.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
I love you.
You're awesome.
You too.
Okay. Aloha.
Aloha.
So I think that was it. That was Molly and anyone else. I don't see any more hands, and I don't see any more questions. Um, so I guess just want to let you know, you don't have to take anything that limits you, puts you down, makes you into something you are not. Okay? If anyone tells you that, just regard it as self-talk. It's kind of like a game. Regard it as self-talk and let it just pass by. If it's meaningless to you, then it can't do anything and have no power over you. But if it's meaningful to you, only to you, because it could never be meaningful. If it's meaningful to you, then it makes it seem as if it's reality, as if that thought is reality. No one needs that. No one needs any self-abuse. We'll talk about your NDE next week. Oh, I forgot about that one. You don't want to do it now? Are you going to bed?
No, I'm not going to bed. If you want to talk about it, I'm ready to
Oh,
hear
okay.
Yeah, we totally want
it. Is that when
it's
you
not,
got really sick?
what?
Is that when you got really sick and you were like right out? You were posting.
Yeah,
stuff.
like it wasn't like intense. Like I didn't go see Jesus or anything like that. It was just like it was just, I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, come back into my bed, and things start seizing up. Like it seems like my heart's going bust, and things are getting numb and everything like that.
Ooh.
And it was, and what made the experience really awesome. I know, I thought so. And that's what made it really fun. It was like I felt this fear of death come up, and then it was just nothing. It was just really. So when Tony was like, "Do you want me to take you to the emergency room or call the police?" I go, or call the 911. I go, just get some. I have this blend called Heart Essential Oil Blend. Just get some of that Heart Essential Oil Blend, warm washcloth, put it over my heart. We'll go that route.
And it worked.
Well, apparently, but nothing really works. But it's like whatever you have the faith for. That's something that they used to say in my family when I was growing up.
Nothing was really happening.
Right, nothing's really happening. So it's like, and for me, when I find myself with some kind of healing modality, it's a really soothing, comforting way, because it can be, because that's possible.
For
Yeah.
for who?
What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Who's it for?
Who's it
The
comforting?
the comfort.
Is someone else talking with you? Because
Yeah,
I'm
I
getting
got
confused.
Phoebe. She couldn't. Her phone she couldn't hear you. So I said I'll just call you and so she could actually hear you through my computer. I've got you on my, and we
Well,
both
That's so cool.
had the same. So who's
People.
the comfort for?
Well, it doesn't matter. Comfort is comfort. If it's allowed, if comfort is allowed, it's gonna find its way easier than if it's denied. So to deny it is to believe a thought that says I have to go through this uncomfortable treatment to get the cure that I want. See? And it's like comfort is just as possible. Comfort is just as possible. There's no need to buy into something. It's like it's possible for this to be comfortable. Like even when I was a kid and I saw people struggling with diets and stuff like that, I go, what if everything you like to eat was actually good for you? And I come to find out that that's like true in my experience. Because it's allowed. No, most people don't allow that, do they?
Right. You're right. Because
Yeah.
it's immediate. The mind says, as you're eating it, it sends out all this guilt because it's not good for you.
Exactly. And yeah. And we are comfort. See, all the comfort we seek is who we are. Of course, whatever seems comfortable to us is what is possible for us. Not only possible for us, but we're deserving of it. And we don't have to set things up to be uncomfortable for us. But for the most part, that's what's going on. You hear people say all the good men are gone in the world. That's setting up uncomfort for ourselves. The idea of the 1% and the 99%, as if someone has power because they have money, that's setting us up for discomfort. See, comfort is our birthright.
Yeah.
Well, I think because that's who we are.
Our true nature is comfort.
Exactly.
Comfortable.
Exactly. We're not being asked to adopt beliefs that say we're destined to be uncomfortable.
Right. When we are uncomfortable, that's when there's a thought that's not true happening.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So even the uncomfortable medical treatment is the manifestation of untrue thought.
Wow.
Even that uncomfortable, like it, and it seems like it's the only option. Oh my God, it's the only option. And I've been in that boat before, thinking that this is I know that it's the only option. I've heard people sticking wheatgrass juice up their ass to get results. That actually sounds like it feels good.
Wow.
For me, I have a bunch of essential oils I love to smell.
Yeah.
Me too.
You too.
Holly is big and she loves smell. She can take away a
I
headache
truly
just by
believe.
smelling an oil.
Oh, yay. Yay, I'm so glad. It's so lovely to share. So yeah, I mean, it's awesome. We're already free. We're already free. And the confusion that comes up, what should I do? What should I eat? What should I wear? All that kind of stuff. If you notice that it's just confusion playing out, it won't be any problem.
Yeah. I have told that is so simple for me now.
Yeah.
When it's what should I do? I know that thought.
It's fun, right?
It's gonna, even if you rehearse what you're gonna say before you meet bullshit. That's not what's gonna come out. What's gonna come out is what's gonna come out. You don't have to pre-think anything. Drive yourself crazy ahead of time. I see that clear. That has let a big load off. Another big. It's been lately, besides the body, the identification with this body thing.
Yeah.
Besides that, it's been very, very calm, very comfortable, very easy. Life has been so, and there's all a thought will come. I was telling Phoebe today, our friend of mine, saying something's wrong because it's too easy. What the heck?
Yeah.
And I know damn well the minute you say something's wrong, that's bullshit. It's a thought.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's just not used to this much ease of life or whatever.
But Hope, you're saying you can be comfortable.
What's that?
Oh, she said that you're saying I can be comfortable with the unease.
Yeah, of course.
When Hope was feeling best, she still felt comfortable?
When I was feeling what?
Death. Whatever was going on about it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
You were just comfortable.
Yeah. Even, right. And with the missile threat too, there's just this sense of comfort, and it's kind of exciting that the prospect that death is imminent too, because there's no such thing as death. It's sort of like pulling away a curtain. It's not like I would try to kill a body so I could find out, so I could have that experience. But that is not something to be afraid of. I'm sure of that.
Mm.
So that's
Yeah.
comfortable when you don't have to be afraid of losing your body. And it's comfortable when you don't have to be afraid of losing anything, your house, your kids, your whatever, because it's all like a mirage anyways. It's only passing in the experience.
Right.
And as long as we're putting love into everything that's being done through our bodies, it just manifests beautifully. For one thing, all of our relationships are healed, and that is the most amazing thing.
Yes.
That affects everything,
Yes.
you know.
Beautiful.
And you could probably vouch too, Lori, like if you're in some kind of energy about your body identity, thinking about why can't I lose weight or something like that, your relationships don't go as well.
Exactly.
Because you're beating yourself up. And look how vain that thing is too. Look how fucking vain that is.
So vain. So ridiculous.
So funny. As if there's something you can do to make yourself less lovable.
Exactly. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's always a changing landscape. The body's always like a changing landscape, and it just is what it is, and it's beautiful as it is, and you know.
And I see there's no control. Period.
Yeah, and see, here's the bottom line about the body too. If you're willing to take it as a sensory organism only.
Yeah.
It's
alerting me to
yeah.
the fun stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. There's like a joy meter that could be sensed in the body. You know, it's like if you are, say you're eating ice cream, okay, and the first bite, it tastes really, really good. And if you pay attention to that joy meter, it gets to a point where it's not really that good anymore. It's being it's being used now to cover something up.
Yeah.
But if you pay attention to the joy meter, the comfort and joy meter, you can see where your next move is. You can see where it's the most joyful to put the spoon down.
Yeah.
Because it's right in the moment. You don't have to mind fuck that thing. You don't have to count calories.
Right.
See?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's just right there. It's right in the moment. Are you getting a joyful experience with it? If not, there's no need to eat the ice cream. What good is it doing?
Exactly.
You know? Who
are
you eating it for?
I'm odd.
You said what? You don't like ice cream?
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
Oh, that's
M&Ms,
cool. Okay.
Holly and I are addicted to M&Ms. I cannot. When she comes here, I have to have. I had a 3-pound bag of M&Ms. We just finished up. We didn't finish all 3. Peter and I did it in between, but her and I ate a good majority of them this past weekend.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But with M&Ms, there is not a cutoff where it doesn't feel good. Oh my God. I put an M&M in, it wants more.
Okay.
That flavor of the chocolate with the, oh my God. Well, obviously there is a stopping point because I do stop.
Yeah, you stop eventually.
Eventually, yes. It does not go.
Yeah. It's for the experience. Remember that. It's for the experience.
Right.
Yeah.
It's for the experience, right. And she just said she wore a tight shirt because she's gained some weight, if you can call it that. She's 100 pounds dripping wet. Anyway, she wore a tight shirt and mine was tight too. And we sat there with our bellies hanging out. No, it was good. We had a really, we always have a good time.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
okay.
Thank you. I love you. Thanks for joining Listening Dialogue. Yeah, as everyone knows who's on here, I have an essential oil company, Miracle Botanicals. It's freaking awesome.
Miracle Botanicals.
That's all I got to say about it today.
Miracle Botanicals.
miraclebotanicals.com. Facebook /groups/wisdom dialogues to get on the Facebook group and get alerts about it. And what else do I have? Wisdomdialogues.org. You can watch videos. And I'm available on SoundCloud plus iTunes.
And YouTube.
YouTube. It's YouTube. Well, if you go to wisdomdialogue.org, that just goes right to my YouTube channel. Isn't that convenient?
Oh, okay. I have subscribed to your YouTube channel, so it's all right
Thank you. You're one of like 62 now. This is so exciting.
there.
I'm a subscriber.
BBC
Yay!
subscriber too. I'm sure Holly
I
is
like
too.
know all the subscribers. That's fun. All right.
Program?
What?
Is it easier to upload now?
Oh, because this dude is doing it for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this guy, he's almost 18. It's so cute. He works over there on the mainland for me, and I just told him, this is when I do my thing, and I'm looking for someone who's going to upload it really fast. And so he has been doing it, and except when he was on vacation with his mom, and his mom didn't let him.
Oh. That is awesome.
Yeah,
Manifested that one, girl.
that was fun. He's a fun little guy.
Nice.
All right, so I'll talk to everyone next week. I love you so much, and have a beautiful week. Aloha and a
You
hui.
too.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
End webinar.